Welcome back to the Thrifty Food Plan channel, friends. I am so glad you are here. If you watch this channel, you know I am above the age of 50, so this video is not going to be my entire story, but it is going to tell a little bit of my story about why I eat and shop the way I do. If you like what you see here, please hit that like button and subscribe. Hi, let's call me Jay. I am the creator here on the Thrifty Food Plan channel, and I thought it was about time for me to, maybe past time for me to sit down and share with y'all a little bit about why I eat and grocery shop the way I do. You know, all of us are on journeys, and if you're watching grocery haul and frugality videos, you've got a why behind that. And this video is a little bit about my why. And it really starts in 2020, during the pandemic. In 2020, I was also on the cusp of turning 50. So I was doing a lot of reflection, as people do when they're on the cusp of 50, and you sort of realize that in all likelihood, your journey in life is more than halfway through. You kind of couple that with COVID, and I was grappling with my mortality in ways I hadn't before. I was asking myself questions about, am I happy? Do I like the way I'm living my life? Do I feel like I have meaning and community in my life? Is this the life I want? Is this how I want to live the rest of my days? And what I learned in 2020 was that I was not happy, and there were a couple of reasons for that. It wasn't just that I was unhappy, I was profoundly unhealthy as well. So a couple of realizations I had in 2020. First, and again, like, my journey does not have to be your journey. I just know that all of us have whys behind the way we eat and shop the way we do. When our mayor announced the first shutdown of our city, he gave us about 6 hours notice, and my first stop was not the grocery store. My first stop was the liquor store, because I was more scared of being shut in without wine than I was about being shut in without food and water. And moments like that during 2020 really forced me to look at my relationship with alcohol. The other thing that happened for me in 2020 is that I have always been blessed to do mission-oriented work for pay. I've worked in the nonprofit sector, I've worked in the government sector. And my jobs have always been about serving human beings and improving lives in one way, shape, or form, trying to contribute to the common good. What it means, though, is that the personal is always professional for me, and the professional is always personal, because my work reflects my personal values. And I have had a lot of trouble creating appropriate boundaries in my work life. So, in a good year, I probably worked 50 to 70 hours a week. During COVID, that ratcheted up to as much as 90 hours a week. And when I wasn't working, I was drinking. And that made me reflect on my relationship with my daughter, the college phenom. She was in high school then, still at home. And I realized that I had become a absent parent in many ways, because if I wasn't working, I was drinking. I just had not been present with her, and I only had a couple of years left to sort of correct that before she did go to college. And so I spent 2020 sort of preparing to make some very significant changes in my life. And I made two big changes, which began in January 2021. First, I started to practice sobriety. And second, I transitioned away from traditional employment and began to work as a self-employed person. I kind of am trying to make a go of being an independent consultant or contractor because I need to understand how to create boundaries around work as much as I need to create boundaries around alcohol. It was actually my doctor who told me to go on a whole food, plant-based diet as part of my sobriety journey. And that's because even though it was at the height of COVID, he did let me come in to get, some blood work done and kind of just get a general workup. And like my liver was a disaster. And, I didn't have cirrhosis yet, but I had very, very advanced alcohol-induced fatty liver disease. And he was basically like, listen, you have to stop drinking or you're going to get cirrhosis and you're going to die. And I want to encourage you to go on a whole food, plant-based diet because I believe that it might help accelerate the degree of healing your body needs to do. Get your own medical advice from your own doctor. And so, I eat the way that I do because of my recovery journey, my sobriety journey, and trying to help my body heal. Now, a lot of people who watch this channel are on other kinds of diets. Many of you are omnivores. Some of you have special eating requirements because of allergies or diabetes or other kind of medical conditions. And I think one thing that was true for me as I was shifting to eating in a whole food plant-based way was like, I was terrified it was going to cost me a ton of money. And I hear those kind of fears sometimes in the comments from all of you, right? It can be really, really expensive to eat a gluten-free diet if you have that allergy, right? It can be really expensive to eat in a way that is specifically designed to combat diabetes. Like all of those things are very real factors on our journey. The other thing that was true for me as I switched to work more as a self-employed person is that I also have experienced a significant decline in my income, kind of my take-home pay. Now, I have been blessed that more months than not, I have been able to secure projects that cover my essential kind of living expenses, like my basics, the very, very basics. And that's been a blessing. And the truth is, like, I'm making far less money than I was almost 3 years ago now. And I'd estimate, depending on healthcare expenses, my income is probably down 40% compared to where it was. And so I started having to learn a lot about living frugally. And I went on this big internet research rabbit trail trying to figure out how to eat in a cost-effective way, because I knew that food costs were something that I could try to control a little bit. And that's how I found the Thrifty Food Plan. And it has proven to be an incredible tool on this journey for me, the USDA Thrifty Food Plan. And, you see it in almost every video that I make. And I use it not only for budgetary guidance, but also for nutritional guidance. And that nutritional guidance in some ways is just as important to me as the budgetary guidance, because I am on a healing recovery with my body because of my years and years and years of alcohol abuse that kind of came to a head in 2020. And so, I've had a lot of change in my life since 2020, and I'm now sort of 2 years into my healing journey. And I started this channel in July 2022. In part because I wanted to hold myself accountable for some of this, but also because I wanted to multiply and magnify the USDA's Thrifty Food Plan as a tool that could help people, because it had helped me, right? Like help all of us, regardless, whatever our health journeys are, our financial journeys are. I believe the USDA Thrifty Plan is a really, really incredible tool for both finances and for nutrition. And so I wanted to multiply it and bring more focus to it. And thank you so much to all of you who've come on the journey with me. The other piece of this, kind of a couple years into a health journey and a sobriety journey, is that, I am trying to find a little more happiness and joy in my life. And that's the social emotional work that goes along with recovery, because addiction is not just physical, it's social and emotional and all of those things. And, the truth is, I love making all of the videos that I put out there into the world. I love doing grocery hauls. I love doing meal plans. I love budgeting. I love all of those things. I am loving learning a little bit about food policy, kind of locally and nationally. Some of that stuff makes absolutely no sense, but I'm gonna keep learning about all of it and share it with you on the non-haul videos. But this video channel, the Thrifty Food Plan channel on YouTube, and the community that you have helped create with me, it's just incredibly special. It helps me know that I am not alone. You all, through your comments and your likes and the other ways you engage with me, you really let me know I'm not alone in this journey. And your journey might look a little different than mine, but we're in it together, and it really has brought me connection and joy at a time in my life when, financially, it's a little scary for me. I mean, it's tight in my household in a way that it hasn't been before. And I feel vulnerable about that in a way that is uncomfortable. And so having the USDA Thrifty Food Plan as a tool and having this channel with all of you is a source of comfort and joy for me. And I hope the channel's not just for me, it's also for you. I hope you also find some benefit in the things that we look at together on the channel. So as we go into 2023, there are going to be things I'm going to have to really think about in 23. I've got to think about my financial realities. I've absolutely got to stay sober, because if I don't, I will be in a whole heap of trouble. And as I head into 2023, I just wanted to express incredible gratitude to each of you who come on this journey with me periodically. Some of you are there all the time, like Melissa Clark. I see you. Thank you. I think you were my first subscriber who wasn't my daughter. I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for bringing joy and community into my life at a time when I really, really need it. And I appreciate each of you more than you know, more than I can express. So I guess I will end the way I always do. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and do come back on Thursday when we'll have another grocery haul and meal plan. Thank you so much for visiting.